table, Daniel Negreanu and Greg Raymer.
She was laughing the whole time.
Looks like they're very congenial, telling stories to each other right off the bat. That's nice. No raise here. Both have diamonds. Greg's got the best of it with the king deuce.
Flop is 6-9-4 with 2 diamonds.
Both have flush draws, and Daniel's got a huge hand. He's got the flush draw and an open-end straight draw. He doesn't realize he's the underdog in this hand. He bet 600, and Greg just called.
Daniel pairs his 3 on the turn.
Daniel now has the best hand, along with an open-end straight draw and a flush draw, and he checks.
Raymer bets out 1,500.
Daniel's got the kind of hand that he could raise here with easily. And if he raised enough, Greg couldn't even call.
Daniel simply calls.
Well, we're going to go to the river.
And the river brings a flush for Greg Raymer.
And a flush for Daniel Negreanu.
Raymer with the higher flush, sitting on the king. Negreanu bets 5,000.
Greg Raymer has the second nuts here, the second possible highest hand. Only the ace-high flush can beat him. So I'm pretty sure he's got a raise here.
No, that was too quick. Are you serious? You made it? I get to show my cards, right?
If you wish.
That's the rule. I got a good hand. It's just not good enough, I don't think. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. 20.
Daniel did not expect to get raised when he made his flush. It's really shocked him. Doesn't know what to make of this hand.
I don't think I can fold, buddy.
Greg very stoic here.
Greg's given him no response, nothing to work off of.
Quite different than Evelyn Ing.
Oh, Negreanu calls, and he's going to lose nearly half his stack in the first hand of the match.
I just lost a big one.
It's not that often that a player loses that many chips in the first hand. Daniel's got a big swim upstream for the rest of this match.
Round 2 of the Hearts and Diamonds brackets underway, and on this featured table, a matchup of 2 players who dominated poker news in 2004 and have remained among the game's elite.
That's right. In 2004, Daniel Negreanu was Player of the Year. He won several tournaments, and he got the nickname Kid Poker. Greg Raymer, of course, won first prize in the main event of the World Series of Poker that year, taking home a cool $5 million. This should be a particularly interesting matchup because Greg Raymer likes to bluff, and Daniel Negreanu is known for his ability to read his opponent.
All right, let's get right back to the action at the featured table.
This one got off to a rather lopsided start, and Daniel Negreanu is going to have to win some pots
15,000 on the river, and
in order to avoid the early exit off the Tuan Lee Highway. Negreanu on Queen 9 raises to 1,000.
Trying to get something going here. Greg Raymer's got a pair of 5s. Just calls.
Flop is 4 deuce 9, a pair of 9s for Negreanu.
Daniel Negreanu takes the lead. Becomes a huge favorite in the hand.
Raymer check. Negreanu bets 700. Check raise to 2,200.
Nice play by Greg Raymer. That flop really isn't scary to him. He's hoping that Daniel Negreanu didn't raise with an overpair and didn't hit that 9. Unfortunately for Greg, Daniel did hit the 9. And almost certainly is going to call.
He does call the additional 1,500. Turns a jack of clubs.
That's another overcard that Greg Raymer doesn't like. He was hoping that Daniel Negreanu would give it up when he raised on the flop, but Daniel called. Now Greg is checked.
And Daniel bets 3,200.
This is a really tough call for Greg Raymer. Looks like he's going to make it. He calls it 3,200. Kind of surprises me. Only thing he can beat is a bluff.
Rivers an 8 of clubs, and Raymer checks blind. Surprises Daniel. Why do you even call on 4th Street?
Well, he's hoping he can catch a miracle 5 here on the river. Also, there's a chance that Daniel has ace, king, ace, queen, maybe even ace 3, and Daniel might not bet at the river, but Greg was wrong. Daniel bets 8,000 here. I don't see any way where Greg Raymer could call here.
Raymer folds, and Negreanu takes down the pot.
I hope it was a good hand.
Oh, it was a good hand.
I hope it was the best hand.
Oh, it was.
Since I didn't call.
Greg Raymer's fishing for a little information here.
Sure till the river.
And Daniel's giving it to him.
Well, if you weren't sure to the river, you had queen 10 or pocket 8.
No, I didn't have the nuts. But when you folded, then I was pretty sure.
You were pretty sure then, huh? Okay.
By Howard Lederer.
Back to our feature table now. Greg Raymer and Daniel Negreanu. And as we mentioned earlier, Daniel is renowned for his ability to read other players. He told us earlier how he planned to attack his opponent's game today.
Before my match with Raymer, I made sure to go to Josh Area and Eric Lindgren. And what we did was we practiced. Eric played me as though he felt Raymer would. And in turn, I played Eric pretending I was Huck Seed. I think I have a couple things going for me against Raymer. I think that there may be an intimidation factor. We've never played against each other. We haven't played much. One thing I know Raymer's going to try to do, and this is my approach, is I think he's going to try to play bigger pots with me. Because that's more of his style, getting it all in. I'm going to try to play what I call small ball. Just kind of jab a little bit, dodge bullets, and then wait for the big trap. I'm just going to try to set a trap for him. Hopefully he falls in and doesn't suck out.
Hopefully for Daniel, Greg didn't see this interview.
Boy, that's an interesting way to prepare, though. I mean, game planning with a practice squad, just like an NFL team.
It's hard for me to imagine Daniel Negreanu playing Huck Seed, though.
Raymer with 9-6 raises to 1,100. And Negreanu on suited queen 8 calls. Flop comes king, queen 7, a pair of queens for Negreanu. He checks. Raymer checks. The turn brings a jack of clubs. Another quick check from Negreanu.
He's got Greg Raymer to bet here.
Raymer bets 1,500. Daniel calls. And the river brings a third queen for Negreanu.
And Daniel's not checking anymore. He bets 3,500. Greg Raymer has 9 high. But he's thinking about something here.
Oh, this is a straight bluff. Raised to 9,500.
Dude, what in the world is going on here? Cold-blooded right here.
Daniel thinks he's beat here. He can't imagine Greg raising unless Greg could beat his hand.
Got ace-10.
Remember the first hand when Daniel had a flush and Greg had a higher flush? Daniel had the same sick feeling that he has now. Only this time he's got the best hand.
Oh, well. That's another cooler if you got me.
Oh, he calls. He's going to love this.
All right, that's good news.
Good news indeed.
That was the other possibility. Phew.
I didn't give you credit for a queen for a
Right, obviously, yeah.
By checking on the flop, Daniel Negreanu won a big pot for himself.
Again?
Greg Raymer did not put him on 3 queens.
Greg Raymer has a slight chip advantage over Daniel Negreanu. Oh, pocket aces for Daniel. He raises to 1,000, and via the outback pocket cam, king 7 for Raymer.
Slightly loose call with the king 7 offsuit.
Oh, big flop for Raymer, trip 7s.
Wow, this could be a disaster for Daniel Negreanu.
Raymer checked quickly, and Negreanu bet 1,600.
If Greg would raise here, Daniel would call whatever he raised.
Instead, he calls.
He doesn't realize Daniel is so strong.
Jack of hearts on the turn.
Greg checks, try to trap Daniel. Daniel suspects something. He didn't bet.
Oh, a big card on the river for Daniel. It gives him a full house.
And Greg Raymer's got a bet now.
Raymer bets 3,000.
I call.
What's that?
I call.
I got a little booyah hand.
Big pot. Daniel takes the lead.
Looked like it.
Good catch.
Daniel played that hand very well. He checked when he had the worst hand and got lucky and caught the ace on the river.
Aces full against 3 sevens. Made aces full on the river against 3 sevens. Pocket aces hit an ace on the river.
Daniel's trying to keep the hand.
Table where Greg Raymer maintains a slight chip lead over Daniel Negreanu. 9-8 offsuit for Raymer.
Used to call that hand Oldsmobile, 98.
And Raymer raises to 2,200. A big hand for Negreanu. Suited ace-queen.
And he just calls.
Flop is 4-4 king. Daniel checks.
And it looks like Greg Raymer's going to continue his penchant for trying to pick up hands. He bets 3,200 with 9 high. Daniel calls with ace high.
Turn pairs kings on the board.
Kings and 4s on the board.
Daniel checks again.
Let's see if Greg takes another shot. Yep, he's going to do it. He bets 4,000.
A quick call from Negreanu.
Daniel's calling here with ace high.
River doesn't change anything. A 3 of diamonds.
Let's see if Greg Raymer fires his 3rd shot.
Negreanu checks, Raymer checks, and Daniel Negreanu is going to pick up the pot.
Good read.
Thanks.
Greg did not bluff on the river because he felt Daniel was going to call him. And I think he's right. Daniel's got a good read on him.
Suited big slick for Daniel here.
6 and 12, right?
So he raises to 2,600.
He wants to get called here.
Queen 7 offsuit for Raymer.
Tough hand for Greg to call this raise with.
You're right. Daniel really wants some action there.
You know, I can't believe anything you tell me unless you show it.
Well, I mean, you'll have to see that one. I had ace king of spades. Now you know you.
But you know me, I'm a poker player. I don't.
And suited 10-5 for Raymer.
And he's going to continue his aggressive play. He raises to 3,600.
Negreanu also with hearts, Jack 7.
36, yeah?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And he calls.
6.
Flop is king, jack, deuce. A pair of jacks for Negreanu.
And no hearts for either player. Check, check on the flop.
Turns an 8 of hearts.
Daniel still got way the best hand. In fact, Greg Raymer cannot win.
Negreanu checks and Raymer bets 5,000.
Daniel quickly calls. Greg's been bluffing a lot.
Deuce of clubs on the river. Daniel checks.
All in.
And Greg Raymer moves all in.
Immediately. This is the biggest bluff he's made in this match, in this tournament so far. This is a major bluff. He's got 10 high. Daniel's got jacks. Second pair. Pair of deuces out there. Remember, Greg Raymer raised before the flop. He bet on 4th Street, just like he had ace-king or king-queen, and now he's gone all in on the river. Greg's trying not to show anything. Daniel smells something.
Oh, this could be a real big mistake.
Greg didn't like to hear that. Daniel's indicated he's going to call.
I gotta go with my gut. Gotta go with my gut. This could be really stupid. I call.
Wow.
You call, you win, buddy.
How do you call that?
Great call.
What
Great
a
call.
play.
Tough one, tough one. You put the heat on, buddy. You put the heat on. Middle pair, baby. That's the one I needed. Thanks, bro. You're the man. Hey. Whew, that was tough.
Daniel Negreanu eliminates Greg Raymer and advances to the field of 16.
Yes! Oh, baby, what a big call. That's all. That's the whole thing right there. I called him middle pair. I'll tell you, I set it up good, too. Oh, sweet. Thanks. Oh.
Daniel's a little proud of himself here.
He feels good.
You know when you have to call? See, the thing is, I don't want to play any big pots, but I know he's got that bluff in him. And before, when I just did that to him, like twice. So he's thinking that...
I don't know why he's talking to Sean Chacon's wife. She doesn't really care that much about this whole thing.
So I made it look like I either got an 8 or whatever, and just played it. No. He was just playing.
Oh, he's talking to Josh Aria.
Check to him. Let him bluff. Let him bluff. If it came king 4-4. You see that one? I had ace queen. Suited. I didn't re-raise him before the flop. Check call. Turn a king. I check call. River he just gave up. Oh, played it good.
Well, we don't have to go back too far to identify our Card Player Magazine play of the day. Greg Raymer goes all in, and Daniel Negreanu agonizes over whether or not to call.
Gotta go with my gut. This could be really stupid.
Actually, this is the Card Player call of the day. Greg Raymer was representing ace king or king queen. Daniel Negreanu called him with second pair jacks. Won his match.
The winner is standing by with Catherine Tappan.
Daniel, congratulations. On the last hand, you could only beat a bluff. What made you call?
Well, I'll tell you what, first and foremost, I really got to thank Josh Aria because we spent a lot of time, him, myself, and Eric, going over some of our opponents, and he gave me a lot of pointers on Greg. He gave me sort of some tells and things, and I kind of set up Greg to make that bluff a couple times by just playing really weak and meekly. So I went with my gut. When it's all said and done, my gut said, Greg's trying to run me over, and I just felt it. But it's so tough to make a call like that. I tell you what, I'm still shaking a little bit because it's a hand that that's not how I like to get my money. That's not like how I like to win. But when you do, it's like, there's no more cards. It's all over. The whole tournament rides on you just being right or wrong. So there's nobody to blame but myself, and if I'm wrong, and that's pressure. That's pressure. But oof. I'm excited.
Daniel, what in particular did you learn from Eric and Josh?
Well, Josh warned me that Greg had basically a lot of guts, and he's willing to, go for those big pots and make some, calculated bluffs. And so I had to take that into account and try to play what I call small ball, small bet poker, and just wait for the right move. I didn't get that situation, unfortunately. I was trying to set him up to try to bluff me and then pick them off, which is really difficult style to play, and I'm so relieved that I'm through. You have no idea.